Good morning. Good morning. Threw everybody off doing a Tuesday. I can't go with the Wednesday, the hump day rants. So here I am on a Tuesday, and let's get rolling. Steam Engine might be joining in. Hopefully, he'll be able to. So I was editing another take on accountability. I've been wanting to talk about the people booing Jerry Krause at that Ring of Honor ceremony last January. It was last January, so now it's January. A little bit fitting to talk about it. And here's my teaser. I think Jerry Krause might have deserved to be booed. That doesn't mean that you should do it. You know, have accountability for your own actions. You know whether to behave in a decent manner and what a decent manner is. I'm saying this, of course, because all the LeBron fans, when Jerry Krause's wife was crying, when his widow was crying, they, of course, were like, oh, this is Jordan's fault for making that documentary. Everything in that documentary was accurate. So really, you're setting the precedent that you can't ever criticize anyone ever. Otherwise, you're going to be responsible for whether or not people dislike them at some point in the future. And really, disliking them isn't the true issue. Your behavior is the issue. And of course, we can talk about a lot of people's behaviors. We can talk about JJ Reddick's behavior, LeBron James's behavior, Paul George's behavior. And when I was watching Uncut Hoops, his video with Paul George yesterday, it put me over the edge. I was like, okay, God bless you and the rest of you who still go and listen to these people. I've resorted to just editing the comical footage of LeBron James still trying to play basketball. I can't stomach listening to ESPN or the Podcast P or any of these other fools that have used podcasts in order to come on and give the world excuses for their inability to produce or come through. Oh, it would be fun to get Uncut Hoops on here. I know you guys want Uncut Hoops to join one of these days. Well, maybe he'll chime in the comments. Speaking of comments, let me throw them up. Let's see who's on here. Also on the agenda today, I got to give some love to the people on my channel. I got to give some love to the people giving support, the people who are members. Special shout out to the members. Special shout outs to the super chats. Then face orange biting nails late. Lou says, what's good, AOH? Jimmy James. Howdy, Jimmy James. It's the truth says, can you please say LeBron is the B word? It's the best thing ever. LeBron James is a bitch? That was really hard for me to get out. Oh, shit. Where's my shirt? I was actually wearing my LeBron is a bitch shirt, so it's not hanging up behind me. In case you missed it, LeBron is a bitch. Or a really, physical football player in his world. He's also playing at a high level in his little world. So another thing that I want to get at today, people, please don't create this narrative that LeBron is only slacking on defense. This is what I think I'm hearing now is that, well, it's okay for him to be like that on defense because of his offensive output, which, by the way, does not make it okay. But his offensive output is not good either. I mean, I've got a follow-up. I almost prepared the footage for today's live, and then I thought, nah, we'll just talk about it. But I have a supplemental video coming just showing how he stands on the perimeter on offense, and then he stands down lower on defense. It's standing in different places with the occasional opportunity to, when the defense has forgotten about him, drive the wide open lane and make a dunk that just about all of us watching. No, I can't say that. I don't know how many people watching can dunk, but if you were ever at one point in your life capable of dunking, you could probably dunk in an NBA wide open lane. Read a few more comments while people are coming in. Ted says, hey back, Remy, 7 turnovers. Oh yeah, I got quite a laugh. How the hell did the Lakers get destroyed by the Spurs? I mean, honestly, how? Oh, and by the way, I wanted to break down some of that game. All my video sources aren't working anymore. I would go to NBA basketball.com where I could get the whole game. Fisker NBA, none of it's working anymore. If anyone has sources, not YouTube highlights, I watch the entire games, download and break down the entire games. If anyone has any suggestions, please throw it in the comments, because something's going wrong with those. It's they're no longer working. Ted, the thumbnail. What is my thumbnail? Oh, the thumbnail. I loved this game. That is credit to Austin, the guy who also did the logo that I use pretty often. Awesome credit. Shout out to you. They booed his widow. Yes, they did. They booed his widow. Now, we'll hold on. We'll come back to that. I'll read a couple more things. They didn't target her, but she cried. They booed when Jerry Krause's name was said. You don't. That's improper behavior, no matter what Jerry Krause did. There's a time and a place. There's a time and a place. And that was certainly not a ceremony of honor. It's not the place to boo someone who has recently passed away, or ever passed away for that matter. Everything that documentary said about Jerry Krause was accurate. In fact, they could have gone farther. All right, fine. I'm going down here. Consider today's NBA. Consider how players, especially the star players, treat their coaches. Consider how franchises are frightened of their star players, and their star players, maybe not being happy, despite being given everything that they wanted. And despite a no trade clause being the ones that want to be traded, the difficulty of finding a star player coach relationship like that, and a coach that's winning, producing chips for you, who has a relationship with the star player who happens to be the best player in the league, the reigning finals MVP, about to be the reigning finals, a repeat finals MVP under that same coach, still winning. And Jerry Krause thinks, yeah, it's time to blow this up. That was absurd enough back then. Now imagine that today, with the difficulty of any sort of a healthy relationship between star players and coaches and franchises, in the pursuit of spending all this money just to get one chip. And there was Jordan and Jackson delivering chip after chip, and Jerry Krause says, nah, I'm going to go my way. That probably deserves booing. But again, you are still capable of your own behavior. You do not boo at a ceremony like that. Just like JJ Reddick does not come to the podium and blame the media after losing. I mean, he's the coach. The last person that you want to be setting an example of blame others is your coach, right? He's supposed to be the hard-nosed one, the one who's like, oh man, that guy's rough. That guy's an asshole. Well, look what happens when your coach is a pass the blame, pass the buck type of guy. You get destroyed by the Spurs, and you keep letting a guy, a geriatric turnover machine, play, even though he shouldn't be playing. Jimmy James, hey, at Remy, at least he had more assists than turnovers. Good for you, LeBron. Good for you. Troy's dog training. The new NBA is literally unwatchable. I used to watch every single game my Lakers would play, and now I just cannot bring myself to care at all. His grieving widow. Some of these comments are out of context. People think that I thought they were booing the widow. That's not what I was saying. Yes, the boos were for Jerry Krause, and as Ben says, the guy that destroyed a franchise over his ego. And yet, my stance, and you guys can comment on this. I want to know what you think. Jerry Krause probably, through his behavior in destroying that franchise, deserved, at a minimum, criticism or bitter feelings. I don't think that gives you a green light to act like a buffoon at a public ceremony. That's my stance on it. You can feel a lot of ways, and there's still a time and a place to behave in a certain manner. Yes. Bodicus 34. Imagine LeBron having to deal with someone like Krause. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Can you imagine the hissy fit that would have been thrown with the whole Tony Kukoc thing? Geez. Today's NBA almost makes Pippen's butt hurtness seem justified, but it wasn't. Pippen made his bed. It's not like they renegotiated his contract or fucked him out of a contract or tricked him into signing a contract. This victimhood mentality is really dangerous. I don't have overlay on. Let me click overlay. Speam Engine, shockingly enough, is not here. Come on, Speam. Jerry thought he could catch lightning twice. Jerry didn't even catch Michael Jordan. How many people are aware that he inherited Michael Jordan? And as I've said in my Scottie Pippen videos, how do we know that it was great drafting, great franchise building versus great Michael Jordan developing people? Come on. I got to get rid of that stupid background. Man, a lot of comments. Sorry, guys. Okay. I can't possibly keep up with these. Sorry, everybody. Wow. I fell really far behind. Oh, God. And who's at the bottom of the list that I finally scroll down to? A LeBron moron. You got to see what these people name themselves after LeBron. It's so weird. Lord LeBron. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you people capable of looking at yourselves in the mirror and not understanding what a tragedy of an existence you are? What the fuck is wrong with you? And these are the people that'll come onto channels like mine that are actually showing the truth, pointing out the truth, saying that we must have a lot of time to waste to do this. You're showing us that your existence is based upon sucking off a false king. Oh my God, Lord LeBron. You don't even have your own identity, for God's sakes. What's wrong with you people? Dr. Huge Show. Hello. Let me pull out a potato chip for you. I know you're disappointed if I don't eat something. I'm actually not going to eat that. Mind Trap 28 AOH. I just can't stand watching all. God damn. Now the comments are leaving before I can finish reading them. Let me look at, since Speam Engine isn't here, let me look at some of the other things. I don't want to hate on other channels, but I really I'm getting tired of hearing Dreamers Pro say that LeBron eclipsed Jordan's 30-point game mark. Do you know the definition of the word eclipsed? Use the word correctly. Passing somebody is not the same thing as eclipsing. A lunar eclipse, a solar eclipse, what happens? Something is blacked out, completely just obliterated by something else. That's very different than passing somebody. That is not an eclipse. I know that's a very silly detail to focus on, but you hear it enough times. I'm like, come on, man, that is not what happened. I don't know if you guys watched my 98 Eastern Conference Finals breakdown, just the first 10 minutes, but, I watched the rest of it. At the beginning of the game, they very calmly said Michael Jordan only needs 5 points to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And that was it. And they moved on. And then it happened in the game, and they mentioned it when it happened. Like today, they would cut away and they'd have this special side ceremony. They'd have a tribute video set up, and all the announcers would have to get in a huddle and talk about what an important moment it was in history for 5 to 10 minutes before moving back onto the game. Is it any wonder that people enjoyed watching basketball more back then? They kept playing basketball. They just told the audience what happened and kept playing basketball instead of having this soap opera interrupting actual action the whole time. And there's no action now in the first place. You get one or two up and downs at half speed, interrupted by a ridiculous foul call or a review or a timeout. And you've got a Paul George complaining that other people are taking a break during All-Star Weekend. I'm looking around, I'm seeing people take a break during All-Star Weekend, and I have to play basketball. Which, as Uncut Hoops so well showed in that video, he was barely putting any effort even in that game, that he said, oh, I've got to go hard in a basketball game when other people are on break. You understand that the guys in the old days, you couldn't get them off the court. We're talking about a change so drastic, you couldn't get guys off the court. They wanted to play through injuries, versus guys now looking for every excuse to play less. And some people say that today's players don't truly love basketball, and you got to wonder. Or maybe they love basketball, but now they just love themselves more because they've been turned into gods. Gods who are allowed to feed right back into that God syndrome by having their own media in which they get on and tell the world, well, this is why I feel the way that I feel. I'd also like to point out that Uncut Hoops, like myself, only use the most recent games. Like Uncut Hoops video used the Mavericks and Rockets game, which was the two most recent ones. And I focused on just the Mavericks aspect of that and had more than enough. In fact, I'm only through like the first few minutes of that game and stopped because the video was already too long with ridiculous things to show about LeBron James. And for those of you just tuning in, another pet peeve of mine, don't accidentally start this idea that LeBron is only lagging on defense. He's barely putting in the effort on offense too. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a Steam Engine sighting. And as I clicked welcome, he disappeared. Steam Engine, what happened? Steam Engine, where did you go? Call back in, dude. Let's read a super thanks that just came through from Cash. Cash, you've been so generous lately. Thank you so much. Come on. Why is it so hard to scroll through here? I just had it. I swear, guys, I know I'm old, but a lot of this is the interface's problem. Cash, thanks for the steady stream of great content, brother, and for keeping it real. Well, thank you for your support. I mean, you guys really do help make it possible. YouTube's not been terribly friendly to a lot of us recently. And, and then I put out videos that you guys comment that you really like and I should make more of, and they don't do well. I don't know if YouTube won't show them or if everyone else just really disagrees with you on whether or not those are good videos. Steam Engine, what in the hell? You only gave me like 2 seconds to let you into the show. He may have fallen over. Any other super thanks? Zion has some big titties. Let me read. I said I was going to give some shout outs to people. So let's go back and look at a few of the more recent super thanks. Diaz Army said just recently, y'all can argue what you want, but Doncic is coming back and smoke them all. He is still their daddy. €5. Oh, European got upset by the Doncic criticism. It wasn't that much. I think this was from the Sunday Live panel when I asked the Mavericks guy on our panel if he thought that Luca had the mentality to get the Mavericks the chip. You know, I'm not doubting what he's capable of doing offensively. That's clear. But mentality and getting over that little hump is pretty special. So maybe not. Anyway, thank you for the super chat. Michael Silberg made a joke about the Grizzlies were a dynasty with Dylan Brooks. Thank you for that super chat. Lawnmow. Too many misspellings, but thank you for your euro $10. Nurse Mustang said, I think Bill Russell and Sam Jones were a great duo because Russell carried the defense and Jones, for the most part, carried the offense. Yeah, that's a good point. We were talking about duos. Thank you for the super chat. And Vacation Wealth Partners gave me $199 USD, which is really mind-boggling. I'm a little bit embarrassed even saying that out loud, but thank you for that. And you know what I'm going to do with that? I'm going to pass this along to Uncommon Sense, who is working on another jam for me. And, you know, man, that guy made a good jam. So I'm going to pay it forward. Thank you for your generosity. He said, I should read your super thanks since he gave so much. I've only seen the first hour of the Gill debate. Is there one of the 6 hours where I can go to watch SCAP? Okay, well, there's two really long ones. There's the Sunday panel that I was a part of, in which I screamed at Gill to answer the question instead of changing the subject. That one was probably around 6 hours. And then I think the one that SCAP went on to FYF's channel, or Gilbert's channel, was also 6 hours long. You can watch that on any of those. Speam is still not back. Wow, he literally came and went. Is he in the super chats? Uncommon is the real GOAT. Yes, Uncommon is great to tune into. So, what do you guys think about the coach? Even if the media was to blame, even if the refs are to blame, what do you guys think the coach's position should be? You know, should he be a guy who sets the standard for the team by saying, yeah, we're going to blame others? Or do you stand up there and be the hard ass? And even if you're tempted to blame someone else, say, we just have to be better. What do you think of my take on the Jerry Krause booing at the ceremony? Do you think that there's any justification for behaving that way at a ceremony like that? Or maybe you think I'm defending Krause too much. It's not even that I'm defending Krause. I just wish people could pick and choose when to behave in a certain way. I'm going to check my email and see what excuse Speam gave me. Roger that. I'll call in. Okay. Not much of a... I don't know why he's gone, but maybe he'll be back. Well, I tell you what, let's open up some calls because today is largely an appreciation day. Oh, Sports and Fitness Rants is here. Angry Skips, stop crying. I let Arenas talk for a long time. You sound stupid. Sports and Fitness Rants is fighting with the guys in the comments already. Man, that guy's got more energy than me. I don't have time for dumb people. But when your name is Lord LeBron, I've got to make fun of you a little bit. Coach should be a leader, not a simp for his superstars. Amen. And that's a symptom of the player empowerment. You know, there's an argument to be made. Hey, these guys are the stars. You know, they deserve something. But unfortunately, we've seen that giving them more has led to bad things. And then we go down the rabbit hole of, you know, too much money and who should be getting money, and maybe reduce their salaries, get rid of the guaranteed contracts. I don't know if it's savable. Sports and Fitness says Krauss earned that reception. Come on, man. Really? I mean, he earned it, but my point is, do you still sit there and think, yeah, but I'm at a ring ceremony. I'm not going to boo. I mean, it was the Bulls. It was celebrating the Bulls. I don't know. I just thought it was, maybe I'm a softie. Maybe seeing, maybe the fact that the widow was crying made me think, yeah, that was pretty distasteful. Me, a softie. Imagine that. Jimmy James. There's just so little decency, you know. I just want to see some decency every now and then. Let me be who's wrong. You know, let me be the asshole for once instead of everybody being in a rush to be a bigger douche than everyone else. Do you think the Bulls could have repeated? They looked pretty exhausted at the end of that second three-peat, or is that because guys actually played defense then? Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? You know, maybe that sort of an end was a blessing in disguise. Then again, the next season was a shortened season. Maybe that would have been enough. Maybe the Bulls could have gotten the chip in that shortened season. That was a lockout, right? 1999 with Duncan and Robinson. But good question, Jimmy James. Look, we all heard Jordan talk a lot about being physically and mentally exhausted the first time and the second time. Johnny Kilroy, boo. Johnny Kilroy is either booing me or Jerry Krause in his grave. Hi, AOH. Kudros. Just wanted your take on the state of the Warriors. Why are they getting so little help for Curry? God, man, I've talked about this on so many episodes that I am self-conscious about continuing to complain about it. Like Scap, Sports and Fitness Rants, and I all kind of went at each other on this. Oh, it was that guy, Mr. Moss, who talked about LeBron not getting, or that it. I was complaining that in this era, LeBron is constantly being got more help. Franchises are constantly doing absolutely anything and everything to try and make the most out of the end of his career while carrying him. And I'm saying, if you look at the Warriors, no matter how you feel about Curry is carrying the Warriors, and they're not really doing anything for him. You got that one big move with Durant taking some pressure off of Curry, which, you know, everybody complains about anyways. So you make that big move and you get reamed for it anyway. And then he wins without Durant. But like, that's the only thing you can mention in history as a huge move made to help the Warriors. And then everything since then has been really, really questionable. AOH, please react to the 2020 ESPN segment on LeBron's on-court load management. See, you mentioned that briefly, right? Yeah. Didn't I comment on your video who was saying that? I didn't know who you took that clip from, who the narrator was. And like, LeBron fans are so weird that I couldn't tell if they were complimenting him for being smart enough to move at a slow pace for the sake of longevity, if they're actually making fun of the fact that he was choosing not to move very much. But I do, in the video that I'm preparing, uncut, have Michael Jordan, clips of Michael Jordan playing defense at age 35 compared to LeBron James playing defense at age 34. And 34 is actually the 2018-2019 season for LeBron. And then the 2019-2020 season, he got carried by Anthony Davis and the shortened season. But 2018-2019 is when Kuzma had to shove LeBron forward, right? Sports and fitness rants. So wait, the fans are supposed to have class, but Krause didn't care. Yes, I can't believe you, sports and fitness rants. Isn't what we talk about accountability? You don't get to blame a scumbag for you acting like a scumbag. I mean, most people do, but isn't that the whole point that we're making? Like, hey, LeBron James is, like, people say that it's Adam Silver changed the game. Don't blame LeBron. Well, LeBron still has the choice to play with integrity. LeBron still has the choice not to be a bitch and not to flop. You know, if he truly respects the game and loves the game, like he says. I'm saying don't pass the buck. So you would have joined in on the booing. I'm a little bit surprised at that. Cash gives a shout out to Uncut. Let's Sethro Toll has been a member for 7 months. Appreciate you. You know what? I'm gonna go to some calls unless there's another because I can't keep up with the chats. I'm sorry, everybody. It just keeps scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So here comes the call-in link. Maybe we'll get Speam Engine back. Oh shit, there he is. Speam, you're here.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Okay. I've been waiting back there for a while. I was working on my shoe display.
Would you have booed at the ring ceremony?
No. That's I don't know. That's like low hanging fruit. I feel like. What was the response? I missed that.
Well, there's various responses, but I personally was surprised that Robin defended it, the behavior. And I did put the call-in link up if you want to hop on here, Robin. I'm not bashing you. I'm just a little bit surprised.
He put the link up. He's not going to click on it or acknowledge you there.
Well, I think he's at work.
So we were going to do a show tomorrow about the just like a review of podcasts, like player-led podcasts, because it was originally going to be about Paul George. So if we get bored today, I collected a series of Paul George quotes just to keep us laughing and happy, because he is jumping off a cliff, and it is really funny to see. It's kind of weird.
Did you see the little montage that Uncut put together of him just like basically contradicting himself? And anyway, it's Uncut's latest video, and it's what
I'm gonna check that out. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Paul George just disgusts me to the core. I know what I remember what I said on there. I was like, these soft asses are the people that LeBron had to quote unquote go through in that pathetic Eastern Conference. I mean, that Pacers team took them to 7, and there was some pretty shitty reffing to even get LeBron past them.
That was the Roy Hibbert days, right? Roy Hibbert, Paul George, Lance Stevenson.
Yeah, and who's the white boy that got shoved the shit out of by Birdman?
So you're saying Birdman's not white?
Oh, well, he was so covered in tattoos by then, he was multicolored.
I don't know who he shoved. Who did he shove? I don't remember that.
It started with an H. Hansbrough, Tyler Hansbrough.
I forgot about Tyler Hansbrough, Dookie guy. Duke guy. North Carolina. Duke.
Tyler's face
North Carolina,
changed.
My bad.
That was I started a video on that about how that changed things. Like, people don't give Birdman enough credit for being an X factor on that Miami team, because Hansborough didn't want to be physical anymore after just having humiliation shoved into his chest the way Birdman shoved it backwards.
Draymond, he hard fouled some tall dude, a center, and he wasn't about that action when the center stood right in his face, of course.
Yes, Tyler Hansborough. Thank you, TNT. Dr. Huge Show, he's multicolored. Chill Daddy, AOH is the man. Are you feeling under the weather, dude?
No, I'm good. Why?
Okay.
It's a personal question to ask me. Why? Oh, side note, I'm scatterbrained. It took me forever to figure out who you sound like. You sound like
oh
the
God.
dude from King of the Hill.
Oh
The dude
God.
that always wears the sunglasses. Ironically, always wears the sunglasses. Boomhauer.
I don't know that show well enough. I only know.
I'll email you a clip. I can't unsee it and I can't unhear it. Now it's not even like a race thing either.
Are you fucking comparing me to a redneck?
They're not redneck. Oh, they're not rednecks.
They're not rednecks.
They're not rednecks.
King of the Hill is not rednecks.
I don't want to deter this that much, but they're not. I don't think. I mean, the Asian dude calls them rednecks, but I don't think they're actually rednecks. I don't know. It's not. I don't know. I don't even know how he got there. Did you catch that LeBron did not give a post game presser last night?
Oh,
shocker, right?
Yeah, well, he deserves it. He's earned it.
I'm so tired of that. The clear. You're being transparent and not being transparent. You don't talk after losses and you only talk after wins. I hate bringing up like public crises, but you know damn well if they would have won that game, he would have said, "This is for the future generations that have to be affected by these fires. You know, my fire was greater than the fire that burned the houses down. Born for greatness, strive for greatness, whatever." And they'll make a sneaker out of it. You know they would have done that.
Oh yeah, I know. So I thought I saw Robin say that he was going to come on. I've put the link up. Anyway.
Dale, thank you. Not Dale Boomhauer. Thank you. It's Dale Karanu. My bad.
I only know who Hank is because he was on Beavis and Butthead. I didn't really ever catch King of the Hill.
I went to some vintage fest thing yesterday. Or no, Sunday, and everything that was considered vintage was everything I played with from the age of like 10 to 17. It was depressing. I'm the old guy yelling at the cloud now.
Well, I'm so glad you're on because you're bringing the energy and the engaging content.
I don't know you well enough to know if that's sarcasm or not. I almost said sarcasm. Is it?
A little bit.
All right, I'll take it. It's fine. I've seen you be meaner to other people.
What are you going to talk about on Precision Hoops tomorrow?
Player-led podcasts.
Oh, right.
Are there any good ones? You know, what's the worst of the worst? I'm kind of done with Shannon Sharpe just in general.
But you're just now done with Shannon Sharpe?
Yeah, I because I want to give him a chance because he does just seem like a country old strong like dude that just wants to be out there, and I'm cool with that. But then after fake leaking sex sounds and taking the weirdest stances, I can't do it anymore. And he's a chatty Cathy lately, and that's weird coming from a Hall of Famer all timer, and I'm a Steelers guy. So it hurts to even say that. I'm done with him. Obviously, we're going to get in a podcast, Pete, because I don't know the name of the dude who co-hosts with him, but he was he's a movie star, movie actor. But he just what is it when you justify? What did all LeBron's cronies do? They I'm not making a joke either. They empower podcast Pete to just say this insane stuff. Like you heard him talking about how he's bored playing the 5 spot for Philly. It's like,
right.
Know the room. Come on. Like you have to. I'm not saying he's like he needs somebody to walk around with him and guide him up and down steps and stuff like that bad, but nobody was in his ear saying you can't like this is such a thing you should not touch on. You averaged 16 points a game this season.
Nobody's in anybody's ear anymore. They're surrounded by yes men.
Do we know what Zion was suspended for? I know
I
it
don't
was
know.
like detriment
Obesity.
team stuff. Yeah, yeah. Man. Whew. Yeah,
Cash
he's a big
says that
guy.
if I sound like Dale, Speam sounds like LeBron.
No,
That's,
no, because the only reason I reject that is because I'm well spoken. I'm well spoken to the point that people compliment me on it.
and
Just
we
because
all know
I'm
you sound like
darker
Richard
darker tongue.
Jefferson.
No,
You and
I look
Richard
like Richard. I
Jefferson are
look like
such
Richard Jefferson.
well-spoken men.
Look like Riff. I don't sound like him. He sounds soft. I don't sound soft. Kendrick Perkins said something stupid the other. Oh, the whole Kendrick Perkins and
No.
Charles Barkley thing. It's like, man, do not throw stones.
See, I
You
can't even, I
what?
can't, I'm not even keeping up with that. You understand? It's every single day. It's every single day. I can't possibly keep up with it. And the whole Molly or Joy Taylor and
Oh,
all that. I don't have time
I
for,
pulled
I
Joy
don't have
Taylor
time for
quotes
any of
too.
it.
I
I
pulled
don't have time for
Joy
any of it.
Taylor quotes too, because, and that's one of the things I was going to bring up tomorrow. Is I feel like I've been right about so many of these personalities within sports. But it's now coming out. Like something was off about Joy Taylor years ago. She code switches so much. She speaks completely different around black people compared to white people. She knows jack shit about sports, and her tits are always out. But you can't comment on that as a man because she immediately hits you with the uh, I don't know, whatever they do now. I'm not in touch with that side of it, but it's it's frustrating. And then you got yes men, you got Achos over there just we should have traded him in that race draft last week actually. Now that I think about it, he needs to go to you guys.
Oh, you had a race draft?
We did. We did. Thanks for watching.
Have you ever thought about
Where's my turkey?
promoting
I don't know
or
where it is.
scheduling something in advance or even streaming it on your own channel, which
No.
you seem to have trouble even streaming on your own channel?
Yeah. Well, you see how organized I am. So
Um, yeah, I'm right about that, aren't I? You probably just had it on Michael Jordan fans are the best.
I did. I
If I'm
still haven't
looking,
figured out how to. I
oh,
still can't do that
fucking,
thing where it's scheduled. You
you
know.
gotta be, just stop it.
I'll
I figured it
figure it out.
out.
Yeah,
Oh,
but you're like old and wise and stuff.
no, old and technology don't go well together. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Molly is the worst. Yeah, Molly is terrible. I think I
She's
would
bad.
probably have dealt with Joy more. In fact, I think Joy's cuter than Molly.
Whew. No, I won't. I can't co-sign that.
Molly looks like she had a Michael Jackson surgery on her nose.
Yeah, but Joy, like she has all the front, but it's like she photoshops the back. It's weird, and I can never tell what skin tone she is or where she's from. It's different every time. And she
Why does
was on
that
that
matter?
podcast.
Why
Here's
is
why it
color
matters,
so why is color so important to you,
because
Spain?
it's 2025, and that's the reality of it. Um,
Did you say that she tries to talk black around black men?
yeah, it's code switching. Yeah, she
Are
does.
you black enough to tell us what talking black officially means?
Kind of like how I talk, maybe a little bit more aggressive.
I don't think that's what you mean.
No, it's just like I keep receipts and I keep it 100, I keep it a buck. And it's like, goddamn well you don't talk like that in real life. It's just it's frustrating. But Molly's not bad. She has no it's almost like she and I'm not saying this to be offensive. It's almost like she has autism. She doesn't read social cues at all. Like she has no awareness in terms of how to actually moderate a conversation. I mean, Lord knows I'm new to this, but when I first started, I cut people off all the time. But I've learned to navigate that conversation by being around the same people. And we talk to each other what, twice a week. She sees them dudes, uh, 5 days a week, and maybe some of the nights. I don't know.
Spoon Production, did you get my joke, or are you not understanding that I was being funny with my question? Well, look what you've done to my show. You have us talking about two women that nobody likes to hear from.
Yeah, but here's the thing: did your audience thing go up?
No, it's falling.
I don't believe you.
It is.
Jackie McMillan. That's a name from the past. Wow. That's those around the horn days when people actually disagreed with each other.
Well, I wanted you and Robin to argue. I'll sit back and watch some people argue.
What do you want to argue about? I can argue. I got some time.
Well, I was just, and it's not that he is wrong. It's not like there's a right or a wrong. Um, but I was just surprised that he thought it was the right move to boo Krause at that ceremony. He's just not who I expected to hear that from.
I wasn't. I think he's older than me. That dude's like ageless. He's in fantastic shape. I wasn't conscious enough to be aware of how big of a dick Krause was, but I do know that he was responsible for a giant part of that success, no matter how you slice it. So booing is strong. I will say, but I don't want any smoke with Robin. I've seen his workouts. I can fight for maybe 20, 30 seconds and it's out. I'm going to sleep.
You don't speak for the black community, Speam. Sorry to tell you. It says Def Montana.
I just found that out. Thank you, Mr. Montana. That's I got a lot of reshaping to do, I guess.
Well, they say Joy bought her tits. I actually was wondering. I give women credit if they are natural. I prefer natural, and she's a big enough woman that they could have been natural, but I don't actually think that they are. That's as much as I inspected what she has to contribute to the sports world.
I just can't wait to see what the end result is. The end result is going to change the industry. If she's guilty, it's a wrap for any credibility in an industry where women do not get a ton of credibility. I mean, it's an absolute wrap.
I'm going to read a couple more super thanks since today is a appreciation day. SC, I don't think I read this one.
It seemed like it in the comments.
You for $4.99, SC said, "Sup guys, Jokic and Giannis care about winning." And the Kings were robbed. Oh, we must have been talking about 2002 Western Conference Finals when you mentioned the Kings being robbed. The only thing about Giannis is that really weird quote when he said that losing isn't failing.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Your goal was to win, right? And if you didn't accomplish that, you failed. It doesn't mean you're not an athlete or a competitor, but you came up short of your goal.
It was wild. He did not get as much heat as I thought he would, but also like you can say that shit. You're a 7-foot champion, a millionaire. Yeah, I can't say that. So from up there, of course you can, but he's certainly not going to finish his career in Milwaukee. I wouldn't be surprised if Dame is there longer. I think he's out.
Really? I thought.
Yeah, I do.
See, the scary thing about Giannis saying that is that he might not feel here that it's failure because these guys get rewarded no matter what. He got his chip and he's getting his money and he's got the power to go where he wants to. So indeed, in some ways he didn't fail. He didn't win, but again, today we're putting more emphasis on whether or not guys are getting paid.
I have a theory. It's the ledge, but I have a theory. I would not be shocked if we saw Paul George on the Lakers. His contract is terrible, but something about how he operates. I feel like I bring this up every episode. When he dunked on Birdman and then dapped up LeBron at the half court because LeBron hit that. That was an impressive half quarter. I said, something's like that's not right. Like he's infected or something. And he's been a douche ever since.
Yeah.
Ever since. He'll be a Laker. You watch.
Well, personality-wise, they might fit, but maybe LeBron even sees that Paul George isn't what's gonna save them.
I could see him. He plays enough defense, and he's as a second option. I think he'd be fantastic. I really do.
Cash from the Sunday asked Scap, or said to Scap Attack, the refs gave Kobe the series versus the Kings.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, but it's true. I mean, if you watched that shit live and your eyes bled out because you knew you were never going to watch basketball again and you understood that NBA was rigged and you couldn't even question it anymore. Come on.
Isn't he being facetious though when he says that? Or sorry, I guess sarcastic. Like I feel like we've talked to him and he's acknowledged that.
He acknowledges some questionable things, but he'll jump on that. But the Kings still had a chance to win. Like everybody has a chance to win, and the difference is whether or not you get fucked.
Mike Bibby's face was on fire. It was blood everywhere, and they called the
What?
foul on him.
I actually thought that he broke his nose.
I don't remember. People don't talk about Chris Webber anymore. I noticed that.
No, and that I remember when he was on Inside the NBA, and I felt so bad for him sitting up there with Shaq.
Four rings.
Shaq always bragging on himself, and Webber sitting there like, you cheating piece of shit.
I didn't even put that together. Yeah, they were playing against each other in that series. I forgot all about that. That's weird. That's a weird move.
Webber had to try and guard Shaq because like 10 people on the Kings fouled out.
Well, their center was Pollard.
Well, that
Scott
was one
Pollard.
of them. They had
Scott Pollard, Vlade, Divac.
and
These are for anybody that calls me a casual. These are names because I do watch basketball. But go ahead.
Yeah. For some reason, I think there was even one more guy. I think they had several bodies to throw at Shaq. But I remember Pollard just going straight up, getting his sternum broken by Shaq, and the foul being called on Pollard. There was just, it's deflating when you're out there playing basketball and the refs are telling you without telling you that you're not allowed to win.
And there's no stat for that,
No, exactly.
My display's falling apart. There's no stat for a ref calling a bullshit foul, ruining your momentum, or putting your second best scorer in foul trouble in the first quarter.
That's why
nobody keeps track of that.
But they do keep track of the free throws, and so it's easy for people to say, "Look, the Kings missed free throws." I'm like,
right.
That's not the only thing that happened.
It's not that simple. Like context is a word that people just forgot over time. You cannot look at a number and just make it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I thought you were pausing.
No, go ahead.
Cash said that Giannis reminds him of Webber. Huh.
That's interesting.
I mean, Webber was pretty physically intimidating in his time.
He was
for his position.
Yeah, he was better. He was better offensively, though. I feel like.
I'm going to put the call in link up again. I got out my. I complained about coaches not being good leaders.
Mm-hmm.
I complained about the Jerry Krause thing. It's just to me, it just goes back to the lack of accountability, and nobody wants to be held accountable or make decisions for themselves. A lot of people can give you an excuse to behave in a certain way. At the end of the day, it's up to you to decide whether or not how to behave.
What I've noticed, speaking of accountability, is I never watched the Lakers post game show. It's like an hour long. So I watched it last night for the first time, and almost every sentence started with, "I don't want to make any excuses."
Oh, right.
And it's like, it's an awful thing, but you can only hang that on so much. And then you got Anthony Davis talking about how he's emotional because where his daughter rides her horse is burned down, and I'm like, I'm sure people want to hear that.
Yeah,
I just
the prisoner. I'm guessing that they let the prisoner burn, but
prisoner,
the horse.
Oh yeah, probably. Go just buy another one. Put a Nike check on it. Call it a day.
Yeah, poor Webber.
I noticed JJ Reddick never lets a reporter finish a question if it's negative. It's almost 100%. He will not let a reporter finish a question. Look out for that in the next press conference.
You know what you made me think about earlier with LeBron not doing the press conference is all the times that he walks off the court early but then sticks around to do a press conference. That shows you how much that
Oh,
guy wants to talk.
I never thought about that. I never thought about that because it's on
So,
his terms.
so did he do both last night? Did he walk off and not do a press conference?
I didn't see him do a press conference, and I didn't watch the fourth quarter because at that point it's like you see the Lakers age when they're getting blown out. So I stopped watching. I don't know if he walked off. He was still in the game with like 3 minutes left though, so I'm assuming it was a stat thing.
You know what? Here's a little analogy from my own life. Introducing study hall to your class options was a new thing. And I opted for it because I don't remember what my excuse was. But in my mind, it began a cycle of laziness. Uh, like Paul George, who's already not playing, and these guys already barely play basketball, not to mention that they're privileged enough to play basketball for a living, but then saying, hey, look, those people over there, they don't have to play this week.
Are you
This
talking about the All Star game quote?
Yeah, I'm talking about him
Oh,
complaining about having to play in an all-star game when he's looking at other people. But those guys over there are having fun. And what, you have to play basketball for millions of dollars. But it just made me think that that's actually tied to the fact that they don't play basketball enough anymore. And their
hmm
minds aren't in a disciplined state that are like, hey, we're at work from this month until this month. You guys are at work from that month to
hmm
that month. You're
hmm
not you're not on effing vacation any
You're
time
not on
during
your
that.
time.
And anyway, not to talk about myself, but I thought it was a little bit interesting. Is like I got worse. I tried to make my life easier by adding a study hall instead of an actual class. And I just got lazier instead of if I look back and I think whenever I from the beginning of the school day had classes all day long and then went to sports practice afterwards to where by the end of the day, the only space you had left was to get your shit done and go to bed. I was way more productive. But then
hmm
you add in these things that are supposed to help you get productive, but you actually become less productive. And look at these NBA players. They've got all this load management and they've got all this money and they've got all this help, and yet they're all becoming less productive.
I wanted to use Jimmy Butler as an example of somebody that I see put in the work. But since he started doing the weird press conferences with his hair and kind of like buying into this character, I've been a little iffy on him. I Steph Curry, I mean, granted, he's one of my favorite players. I hate to bring him up, but I see him put in the work. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
consistently doing something basketball related.
Yeah.
And they're still trying to force this whole LeBron Curry friendship that makes Curry look so uncomfortable every time because they go to shake and he's like, I don't know your handshake, LeBron. I don't know it. So let's just hug, take the picture, and move on. And the other thing I've noticed from a reporting perspective is they've been grouping LeBron's name in with Curry every time they talk about the greatest of
Oh,
this generation. And
exactly.
it's like I don't know the term for that. I'm sure it's a thing, but it's he's no longer great on his own now.
Right.
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 So how can you I mean just in a bubble, how can you be considered the greatest of all time if the current day media still doesn't differentiate you from at least two or three other players? The media that you pay, by the way.
This is why my breakdown of the Lakers and Warriors game is taking me so long, because a sub chapter of that was how they would they would try to make LeBron relevant and say to the world that LeBron must still be great because Steph Curry said he loved playing with him in the Olympics, which
Right.
I'm not, Steph Curry doesn't really have much choice when you ask him a question like that. But they also talked about the reality is that Steph Curry saved LeBron's ass. Steph Curry
Yeah.
saved LeBron's ass, but the story isn't that. The story is how much they loved playing together in the Olympics, and we saw how great LeBron still is. That's not what happened.
No.
But they were lying to everybody on Christmas Day, because what does that do? That helps you not think about the fact that LeBron actually doesn't look very good. Hey, don't pay attention to what your eyes are seeing. Remember how great LeBron is. He was the Olympic MVP.
Well, you knew that's what that was about.
Oh, of course.
They
Of
could
course.
have thrown that ball to AD and he could have averaged 50 a game in the Olympics.
PG balled out in OKC. Did he really?
He wasn't terrible. He wasn't
I,
terrible. That
the,
was him and Russ, right?
yeah, there's something about PG. Like a friend of mine likes PG, but he'll always quote stats, and I was like, you can have PG every day if we're picking lineups because I have no faith in PG. Something about him that is not who I want on my team when push comes to shove. Just something about him's always said that to me.
It's weird because when you watch him play, he plays beautiful basketball. Like he's 6'8". His handle is nuts. And he can shoot from anywhere. And if he played defense, he'd be amazing. But he's also, I don't know, it's like an on-off switch or something. Also, he's gonna have to look his child in the face one day and say, "Hey, I offered your mom $1 million for you not to be here. How do you feel about that? Like you not being here was worth $1 million to me." So, and they're married now. So he might just be not a good person. I don't know.
Uncut Hoop says PG folded like a $2 bill, and then against the Jazz when he was in OKC.
I don't remember that.
I have someone named Indeed 317 who is new to the channel. I'm going to let him come on and see what he has to contribute. Hello, what you got to say?
Hey, what's up? PG folded when his leg broke on the stanchion.
I see what you did there. I got it.
Yeah, I've been a Pacer fan since
A what fan?
'84,
Pacer fan.
and Pacers fan.
So did you think that he was the man to get them over the hump when he was in Indiana? You did.
Yeah, but small market team, he went like a bitch and chased the money.
So you think things would have been different?
And it's
You think things
unfortunate.
would have turned around for them if he would have stayed?
No, 100%. I mean, we had Roy Hibbert, All-Star, freaking David
Lance
West,
Stevenson before he lost his
crazy
mind.
legs, make them dance, Lance.
Before he got CTE.
Yeah, I don't think he lost his mind. That's what we need with basketball. We need those type of players, hustlers. We don't need these guys with T-Rex arms standing there like this.
Yeah.
It sickens me to even watch the sport anymore. Like, I'm a Hoosier, man. That's what we do here. We watch basketball. We play basketball. That's all we do. And it's like for the past 10 years, I think maybe rewind it a little more. Since LeBron went to the Heat, it's just been a total shit show. Total shit show. The super teams, the bad reffing. I don't understand how LeBron isn't thrown out every game for techs. There's no defense. There's no one getting in foul trouble, even in the playoffs. You got teams shooting 53s a game. It's boring.
You know what's bad? When you mentioned the T-Rex arms, we all knew exactly what you meant. we shouldn't.
Of course, everyone does.
He's either that or he's trying to fly, throwing his hands up every 6 minutes.
Yeah, complaining. Oh my God, what was it? The game a couple of games ago. Was it Friday night or Thursday night? They were playing in Rui has to guard like 3 people on the arch. Like 3 fucking players. Rui's got to do all this shit. Go to the wing, go to the corner, and LeBron's just standing there. And then when the other team scores, he's doing this again. Like, what is this diva, man? What is this diva? And it's catching on. Like, my thing is, if I had to pick a team of all players, okay, and I had first 15 picks, my team would be filled and LeBron wouldn't even be on it. I'd pick Reggie Miller over LeBron. I'd pick Jason Terry over LeBron. I'm talking prime.
Prime Jason Terry. That's funny.
It's garbage, dude. It's garbage. And the reason I say this is because LeBron is a team destroyer. He is not a team helper. He has never helped a team go anywhere except maybe early years Cleveland.
Uncut wants to know if you still watch college ball.
Yes,
I'm wondering 100%. How you. Well, do you still watch the NBA? Because I'm wondering how you can stomach it going from college to NBA.
It's like a train wreck, dude. You have to watch it. It's that bad. I have.
Do you enjoy any basketball, any professional basketball at all? Has there been a game that you were into, or that you could remember?
I mean, obviously, yeah, but as of recently, no.
That's my point.
With me looking at the 98 finals again, the 98 Eastern Conference finals again recently, I wanted to ask you how you felt about Larry Bird as the head coach.
It was awesome. He was awesome. I was sad to see him step down and then up as a GM. But yeah, Larry Bird, dude. Well, Larry Legend, of
What would
course.
happen?
Great years.
What
with
would
Larry
happen
as
if
coach.
Larry tried to coach today? Would he be allowed to be a coach, or is nobody able to reintroduce old school?
I wouldn't see why not.
You think Larry Bird would not get, you think that Larry Bird and his legendary status would overpower the current NBA players' ententitlement?
I would hope so.
But it won't.
I would really hope so.
For that, they don't have respect for the past.
That's
the problem.
True. I'm thinking as a 45-year-old man and not as a 20-year-old millionaire.
Yeah, nobody can tell them anything. And Larry Bird wasn't with the shits, so he would clash. He'd clash. He'd lose his mind too.
I saw a little bit of a variation added to LeBron's blame when he doesn't guard anyone. He scooted to the entire other side of the lane, pretending that was where he was supposed to be boxing out to get the rebound. Like, he left his side of the court entirely. It's like he was just trying to get out of the frame of the disaster.
So bad, dude. So bad.
Like, why are you going to the other side of the lane to box out? He just didn't want to be anywhere near the shooter that he wasn't guarding anymore.
Do you think he's a defensive liability to the point that you take him out in the fourth?
Absolutely. What the
100%? 100%. Did you see last night's game? Holy shit!
No, I mean, like, if the game's within reach. I mean, not like the blowout last night.
He is a team destroyer. Yeah. He does nothing to help a team, and it is.
Here's my pushback to that.
It is me.
My little pushback to that is, at least when you have him on your team, you do have the refs and the league on your side.
It's not enough.
Okay,
it's been enough.
That's not enough.
It's been enough for him to win.
For what, play-in?
Yeah. Again, you're preaching to the choir here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that the free throw differential's ever been greater for a LeBron team than these recent years, and they're not winning. So it's not enough anymore.
I wonder what it was in the Olympics. What the free throw differential was against the world.
I just remember him throwing a guy down in front of the ref and nothing happening.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, even the Olympics. But I mentioned a pet peeve at the beginning of this. People do not start talking as if LeBron is only slacking on defense and his offense makes up for it. He's bad on offense too. I know and I'm sick of people talking about scoring 25 points in a night when teams are scoring 125. Wait, that's not a big percentage, people.
And it's all garbage time points.
Yeah. Thank you for calling in. Appreciate you coming on for the first time caller.
Yeah, appreciate you, sir.
And you definitely don't sound like Boomhauer, dude.
No, we figured it out. It's the other
Boomhauer. Okay. All right.
I couldn't tell if he was offended or not. Maybe I can't read people either. Maybe I'm autistic. I got to figure that out.
Him? Offended by what?
Sometimes I can't read if people are upset or not.
Well, he's from Indiana. He's upset about basketball.
All right, we'll talk to Bandana Dan.
Someone named Nick is on.
Hey, what's up?
Hello, Nick. What's on?
I don't have a camera. I'm sorry if my English is a little bit bad. I'm from Europe. Can you hear me correctly?
Absolutely.
Yes, and I'm sure you're going to speak better than at least 50% of Americans.
I will do my best.
You're being generous.
I actually have two suggestions for you, AOH. The first one is, have you ever considered making an analysis of the current EuroLeague games compared to the NBA?
The current what games?
EuroLeague games from the European leagues. Because there's teams like, for instance, Real Madrid that completely dumpster the current NBA. As Kobe would say, they play accidental basketball in the NBA right now. You know, somebody gets hot from three, everybody's just chucking it up. But in the EuroLeague, there's a lot more structure because they can't really rely on athleticism. To be fair, it's just a bunch of scrawny white guys. It is what it is. But you know, the rules are different. There's hand checking. people make the extra pass. It's actually wonderful to watch compared to today's NBA, which is ludicrous to say.
So you know what I realized from the Olympics is that FIBA rules must not be that similar to EuroLeague. I thought that they would be very similar, but like I just saw reffing that blew my mind. I hoped that the reffing would level the playing field a little bit, and instead I felt like I saw the Olympics going the way of the NBA. So I guess the reason I'm saying that is if we were to take Real Madrid and play them against an NBA team and see if they could beat an NBA team, we'd have to also consider who's officiating.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I was more so, how do I say it? Making it a comparison of the product itself rather than the proficiency of the team. I mean, realistically, if you compare, let's say, the players of Real Madrid or Partizan or whoever the hell to, I don't know, even the Sacramento Kings, man. Sacramento Kings are still going to win, like on basis on potential and skill. Yeah, they're much better players. They're much better cared for, all that stuff. But overall, in terms of team cohesiveness and just pure freaking tactics, it's a much better product because the rules allow for a much better product.
So you're not saying that Real Madrid could beat an NBA team. You're just saying that the product is more enjoyable to watch.
I would say that the players in the EuroLeague teams have less individual skill, but as a team, I wouldn't know. I guess it would have to depend on what type of rules you play under. For example, there was an interview back in the day of Isaiah Thomas, I think, who said, "Yeah, you think that the players today are much more skilled because they can dribble. We knew how to dribble too. We just weren't allowed. We would be called for travel. We would be called for carries, stuff like that." And if you decide to like get on a park and hoop against one of those guys back in their prime, they would freaking smoke you under those rules on street ball. It's not that they couldn't dribble with their left hand, that kind of shit.
And I've said it's unfortunate that I can't actually even find out if today's players are more skilled than past players because they're not playing the same game. You have to be playing by the same rules to see who's more skilled.
How can you say it's more? I'm agreeing with you. How can you say it's more skilled when, objectively speaking, everything has been made easier? No, that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Everything has been adjusted, and LeBron fans adjust everything. So I don't understand why they can't. Well, never mind. I do understand why they can't. But that's the perfect counter. If you guys are just going to keep moving the goalposts, then everybody can do that. It's just chaos then.
I think about today's NBA, like when I would play against kids that were learning the game, and I would decide to play tough D just to teach them a lesson and like come up and stop them. And then they just start dribbling again and go to the hoop. And you're like, okay, let him go because he's still learning. But like now that's the way it is with NBA players. They're like they just carry the ball so badly that they've come to a complete halt and then they start dribbling again. Like it's elementary school.
I had a video the other day because Ja hit a game winner, but it was off a spin. And he had that ball under his hand for at least a second and a half, maybe two, and then dribbled it again and shot.
A second and a half is a long time.
That's what I'm saying. And Ja is a perfect example, I think, of why the NBA is failing. He's all athlete. That's it. Like just running and jumping. That's all he can do.
It's Special Olympic ball today, Johnny Kilroy says. Caller, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Macedonia.
Thank
actually, you know what? I have made a super chat to you back in the day about an event that happened between Zlatan Ibrahimovic and LeBron James. I don't think you got it, but when Zlatan Ibrahimovic moved to the US to play football or soccer, LeBron James decided that it would be a great idea to send a jersey to Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who's a much bigger superstar. So this crazy guy decided to sign it and send it back. That was the joke.
That's great. I think I heard that story. I either read your super chat and didn't give you the acknowledgement, or that's a big enough story that I've heard at other places.
I feel like he's called in on a Sunday show. Because I recognize that voice.
Well, you think all Europeans sound the same, you racist shit.
Hey, you said that. You said that. I didn't say that.
Well, thanks for calling in, and Steam Engine, thank you for calling in. I have to go, but thank you everybody who joined the live stream today. And we'll see you on the next one, everyone.